Hello and welcome. My name is Vicky Fox, and today we have a body scan that has been designed specifically for the menopause and cancer community. A body scan can be a really excellent way of giving your mind a distraction, especially if you're finding you're having hundreds of thoughts or your mind is going round one thing on a loop. And we just want to give our mind something else to focus on, so that we get a little bit of a break from our thoughts. Body scans can also be a good way of moving through the body, exploring how the body feels, and not necessarily resting on any particular sensation, but moving on to other sensations. So it can be quite useful when we are experiencing any side effects, because we can observe sensations, we can observe things that we're feeling in the body, but not resting there, not judging them, not labeling them, but moving on to another part of the body. When we move through the body scan, we want to get really comfortable, because one way that we can allow our body to settle and our mind to settle with our body is for it to be fully comfortable. So it's worth taking time to just find a few props or things today that are going to make you more comfortable. So you might find you like to do this lying down. You might prefer to do this seated. You could do it in your bed. And there's no specific time of day that is right or wrong to be able to do a body scan. You can do this body scan at any time. You could do it in the middle of the night. You could do it in the middle of the day. But finding anything that you have to make yourself really comfortable, because we know the minute we start to fidget and move, our mind becomes a little busier again. And one of our aims is to calm the mind, to give the mind a focus other than our thoughts, which we know our thoughts can be wonderful and fascinating and really interesting, but sometimes our thoughts can be scary and limiting. And especially when we're worrying. When we're worrying, we're projecting fearfully into an imaginary future that doesn't exist. It's really hard to cope with. So we just want to take this time out that is just for you, for your well-being, to nourish and nurture yourself. So get yourself really settled. If you're lying down, you might want to roll up a blanket or cushions and put them underneath your knees so you have a little bend in your knees. You might even need a small folded blanket underneath your head. And you might want to make sure that you're warm, because it's very easy for the body to cool down when it's in stillness. So you might find that just by lying still, you start to get a little bit cooler. And there's nothing worse than lying there, realizing how cold your toes have become and wishing you had a blanket or something to put over them. So it's worthwhile even just pausing the recording to grab a pair of socks and some blankets and things that just make you really comfortable. So you can now just switch off. And all you need to do is follow my voice, follow my guidance, and just know that you're part of a community, a truly wonderful menopause and cancer community. So once you have got yourself settled, just sort of sense that all the doing is done. Now you can just be. And just start by allowing your physical body to really settle. Really is an ultimate practice in letting go. So we start by letting go of our physical body and just feeling the weight of it. Can you allow it to sink even further into your bed, your floor, your chair, whatever it is that you're lying or sitting on? Just allow your physical body to just sink, as if you could make an imprint into the floor or the chair. Imagine you could sink another 0.5 centimetre. And as the physical body settles and sinks, just allow all the muscles and tendons and ligaments to also soften. Nowhere to be, nothing to do. just following my voice. There may be some periods of quiet. And as we move through the body scan, you don't need to move anything. You might just mentally repeat the area that I mention, or you just let your attention rest at that area, just noticing whatever it is you might be observing about that area. There is no right or wrong, or good or bad. We're just going to try to notice areas of the body without judgment, without labeling it as good or bad, or labeling any sensations as right or wrong. We're just going to observe. So bring your attention into your right hand, just noticing sensations in the right hand. Energy follows awareness, so you might be aware of warmth. You might be aware of the weight of your hand. You might be aware of sensations. Sometimes you can sense swirling sensations, tingly sensations. Just observing. Right hand. And then bring your attention to your right thumb, right index finger, middle finger, ring finger and little finger. Just noticing all the fingers on your right hand, the palm of your hand. Maybe noticing the texture of the back of your hand, whatever it's resting on. Can you sense the texture of the fabric of whatever the back of your hand is resting on? And then bring your attention to your right wrist, your right forearm, the two sides to your right forearm. Notice your right elbow, right bicep and tricep. Noticing your right upper arm and just sensing the weight and the warmth of the right arm. Observing any sensations you might be experiencing in your right arm. Bring your attention to your right shoulder and just allow the shoulder to soften. We can hold a lot of tension in our shoulders when we're anxious. So just seeing, can you let your shoulders sink? Maybe feeling them drop away from your ears. And then as you bring your attention to the right side of your chest, can you be aware of breath in the right side of your chest? Maybe just noticing there's some movement there when you breathe in and when you breathe out. As if you could just breathe into the right side of your chest. And then noticing your right rib cage, just sensing or feeling the right rib cage. And as you breathe into the body, maybe being aware of movement, right rib cage. There may be just very gentle, very subtle movement of your breath. Ribs expanding a little on your inhale, and just gently softening on your exhale. And bring your attention to the right side of your waist, the right side of your pelvis, and just noticing the weight of the right side of your pelvis. Your right hip, your right thigh, the top of the thigh, the bottom of the thigh, and just allowing the leg to just settle, just to sink. Bring your attention to your knee, the front of the knee, the back of the knee, and noticing the space in between the knee. Just sensing that space at your knee. And then bring your attention to your calf and your shin, and just feeling the weight of your shin sinking down into your calf. Notice your right heel, the skin on the sole of the foot, the skin on the front of the foot, And bring your attention to your toes. Right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and baby toe. And as you let your attention rest at your toes, can you imagine that your toes could just drift out away from your feet, like little boats floating out away from a dock, just drifting out to sea. And just noticing the space in your feet as your toes just drift out away from your feet. And just sensing the whole of the right side of your body, noticing the weight, noticing the warmth, right side of your body. And then rest your attention now in your left hand. So just observing the palm of your left hand. When you guide your attention there, what are you aware of? Again, without judging it, there's no good or bad. You're just noticing palm of your left hand, left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger. And just noticing the back of your left hand, just resting. Maybe the texture of your sheet or your chair. Soften your left wrist, your left forearm. Noticing the two sides to the forearm. One making contact with the air, one making contact with the surface of your chair or your bed. Left elbow, and just let your attention rest at your left bicep and tricep and your left shoulder, and just sense the weight and the warmth of your left arm. And can you let your left shoulder soften? So again, often an area where we hold tension. Maybe even just breathing, using other muscles to help us to breathe when we're scared or anxious. Can you just allow that left shoulder to just soften? Maybe the shoulder blade sinks down. Feel your shoulders just come away from your ears. And then bring your attention into the left side of your chest. And just what do you observe there? Maybe very subtle movement. Just the breath in, the breath out. Just noticing what it feels like, left side of your chest. And then your left rib cage. Maybe again noticing that very subtle movement of the breath in and the breath out. Bring your attention to your left waist, left side of your pelvis, and just sensing the weight of your pelvis. And then your left thigh, and just feel the left thigh just sinking, front of the thigh sinking towards the back of the thigh. Bring your attention to the front of your knee, the back of your knee, and just notice the space between, space in your knee. Bring your attention to your shin. Feel the weight of your shin resting down towards your calf. Feel your calf just settling and sinking. Feel the weight of your left heel. And imagine the skin on the sole of the foot softening. Skin on the front of the foot softening. And then bring your attention to your left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and baby toe. Can you imagine your toes just drifting out away from your feet? And imagine like little boats just floating out at sea, drifting away from a dock. You get this feeling of spaciousness in your feet. And then just sensing or feeling the whole of the left side of the body. Notice the weight. Notice the warmth. The left side of your body. And then just bring your attention to the back of the body. So just feeling your heels. Can you feel the weight of your heels? Can you allow them to sink another 0.5 centimeter? Feel your calves. Maybe noticing the space at the back of the knees. Feel your hamstrings, the backs of your legs. And even the weight of your bottom. Just allow the bottom to relax. Feel the weight of your pelvis. And just sensing the front of the pelvis softening towards the back of the pelvis. Maybe being aware of the space at your lower back. Sensing your rib cage, the back of your ribs. Maybe even being aware of your 2 shoulder blades. And if you're lying down, just sensing your shoulder blades really widening and broadening. And as much of your shoulder blade making contact with the surface that you're lying on. And even sensing the shoulders away from the ears, softening. Noticing the lovely curve in your neck, the space between your neck and the surface. Sense the weight of your head. And just bring your attention to the crown of your head, the very top of the head. Imagine the crown of your head just softening, melting. And then just moving from the top of the head now to start to move down the front of the body. Bring your attention to your forehead. Another area we often hold tension. Sometimes we furrow our brows. So see if you can allow the skin on the forehead to just widen, soften. Bring your attention to the point in between the eyebrows. Maybe that's one of your awarenesses of not having eyebrows, but just noticing point at the center of your forehead. Just try to soften there. Notice if you're holding any tension there. Bring your attention to your eyes. Can you allow your eyes to settle into your head? And let your eyelids become heavy. The eyelids are like 2 little duvets over your eyes, just sinking down, allowing the eyes to really settle. Bring your attention to your cheeks, and can you allow your cheeks to sink towards your ears? Bring your attention to your ears, so notice the external architecture of your ears. And then being aware of the internal architecture of your ears. Imagining softening the inside of your ears. Can you let the skin on your face widen, soften? And as you bring your attention to your nose, just noticing, can you sense breath in your nostrils? Just sensing that gentle caressing of your nostrils as you breathe in and as you breathe out. You might even notice cooler breath when you breathe in and warmer breath when you breathe out. Just sensing the breath without judging or labeling, just noticing the breath in, breath out. You might even be aware that one nostril is easier to breathe into. This changes every 90 minutes, so sometimes you're aware of that point just before they change where it feels easier to breathe in and out of both nostrils. Again, can you notice without judgment, just observing the breath gently caressing your nostrils on your inhale, gently caressing your nostrils on your exhale. And then bring your attention to your upper jaw, gums, teeth. Can you allow your upper jaw, gums and teeth to soften? Maybe bring your attention to the roof of your mouth, just allowing your roof of your mouth to dome upwards, softening through the soft palate. And then bring your attention to your tongue. Can you allow your tongue to thicken, broaden, soften? And then bring your attention to your lower jaw, gums and teeth, and just allowing them to soften. You can gently rest the tongue to the roof of the mouth just behind your teeth. Lips can be touching and teeth slightly parted. You're just not holding any tension in the lower jaw, just allowing it to soften. And then bring your attention to the front of your throat. You might even swallow just to allow the sides of the throat to soften. And then bring your attention to the right side of your chest, the left side of your chest. Bring your attention to your belly, just noticing very gentle movement of your belly as you breathe in and breathe out. Belly just gently rising on your inhale, belly gently falling on your exhale. And just allowing all the organs inside the belly to soften towards the back of the body. Soften the front of your pelvis, the front of your thighs, your knees, your shins, and the skin on the front of the feet. And just bring your attention back to the feet and allowing the toes to just soften and just float away from the body. Just sensing the weight and the warmth of the whole of the body. You're just sinking into your bed or your chair. Aware of sensations, without judging, without labeling, just noticing. And just sensing your body as a whole. just bring your attention inside the body. Just noticing, what does it feel like to be you right now? Sometimes we can get a glimpse of our true nature at the end of relaxations. So just noticing what it feels like to be you right now. Maybe being aware of any stillness or peacefulness. And that may not be always what you experience. It can be very challenging to learn to relax. So maybe there are other sensations, feelings that have come up. So just observing. Again, we're just learning to, or practicing to observe without judgment. And just seeing if you can keep a sense of stillness within as you just slowly start to bring a little bit of movement back. And maybe taking a deeper breath in, and you could even make a big sigh out. Bringing movement into your fingers and into your toes. And maybe even stretching out through your arms and through your legs, just like you might do when you wake up in the morning. Or maybe you've decided you'd like to stay. Maybe this practice has made you feel sleepy and this fits in with your day for you now to go to sleep. So you might stay in your position and just allow this recording to just switch off in its own time. But if you're coming out of relaxation, maybe rolling to one side, and just pause. There's no rush. What we want to try to do is keep some stillness or some peacefulness, maybe even some clarity that we sometimes get when we give our mind a break. So just keeping some of that stillness as you maybe press down with your top hand and just find your way into any comfortable seated position. And once you find your way into any comfortable seated position, you might just bring your hands into a prayer position. Or you might rest one hand at the center of your chest and the other hand on top of that. And just take a moment today to give thanks. Start with yourself. Take a moment to give thanks to you for finding time to nourish and nurture yourself. And just noticing, is it challenging to be grateful to yourself? And then maybe take a moment to give thanks to someone else or something else today. So you just connect to something outside of you. And may peace be above us, below us, and all around us. But most importantly, may peace be within us. And so with a quieter mind and an open heart, namaste. And thank you so much for joining me and being part of this wonderful menopause and cancer community. Have a wonderful rest of your night or day.